Hello, in this tutorial I will show you how to use Hugin to stitch photos taken from a drone to achieve a result like this. I've made another tutorial about the same topic, but this one has some more information and newer things that I do. So to start, so this is an example I got from Google Maps. So what I would do, I would go from maybe 300 meters up to 380 meters. And let's say I wanted to, you know, I wanted my final result to look like this, what's in the black border. So I would start my drone like in this corner and then slowly go up, taking overlapping images like this, and then I would go up and turn here, go down, and then by the end of the flight, I would go like up and down maybe 4 times, just like that, like this. So after you take the photos with the drone, you'll have photos like this. I've renamed these just to make it clearer for me, A, B, C, and D for each column. And then what I do with these photos, these are right out of the drone. So if you look at the details here, you can see all this information. But that's bad. So one way to strip the information is to use a program called FFmpeg, and you write a script file that looks like this. Give it a name that ends with .bat, and then once you do that, you take those photos and you drag them into, so this is the script file. You take these photos and I'm not going to do them all. I'm just going to do maybe the first 5 just as an example, and you drag them into here, and then you get this, you get these output photos. So you can see these, they're going to have this prefix, this no exif prefix, and if you look in the details, there's no metadata anymore, which is good. Anyway, so I did this beforehand, so I have this folder full of these images that have no metadata inside them. So back to Hugin. I just actually learned it's pronounced Hugin, not Hugin, so I'll use that pronunciation from now on. So let's stitch. So there's several ways you can do this. You can stitch them by column and then put all the columns together. Like so you do this column first, and then you do this column first, and then whatever, and then you stitch the columns. So I'm gonna show you that way first. So first we have these, all the A images, which are these 28 images. And one thing I learned is that, there's a lot of overlap in these images. So you can actually get away with not stitching all of them. So I'll just do every third one. So I'll hold Control 1 or just skip 2. And I'll just use these last 2. Okay, and then what we do is I drag them into Hugin. Just put 5 for your degrees here. Press OK. And then click Create Control Points. And this might take a while, depending on how many images you are trying to stitch. So this is done. Then you go to here, the Optimize Geometric dropdown. You go to Custom Parameters. This new tab shows up. Make sure you're under the expert interface. Make sure expert is selected. So first thing you do is you unselect yaw, you unselect pitch. Roll is already selected. You select X, Y, and Z. You press reset here, and then so a little window pops up. This little thing comes out. You press OK. Everything is zeroed. Then you press optimize, and you get this. The smaller this number, the better. It should be under 10. So this is 0.9, which is pretty good. You apply the changes, then you go to View, and you open the Fast panorama preview window, you'll get this. You go to projection, change it to mosaic. I'm not sure if that makes a difference. Go to the move and drag, center it here, use these scroll bars to change the canvas. So this is good, and then go to crop and just make sure it's tight against the image. You can just go here, go to the stitcher, press calculate optimal size. I like PNGs, so I'm going to change the format to PNG. I use the built-in blender, and then in options, I use the blend seam, which kind of makes it blends the seam, makes it softer. Sometimes the seam is too harsh. It is faster when it's a hard seam, but a blend seam gives a better result most of the time. You press OK, and then you press stitch. And then it'll ask you to save. You'll save it. And then these pop up here, and you can see it working. If you're stitching a lot, this might take a while, especially if you're using the soft blending option. So I'll be back when this is done. Okay, so it's done. Let's look at the result here. This is the saved file. And you can see this is the first column. So now we repeat the process for B, C, and D. So this time, so for the B column, I'm actually going to do every other, same as before, but I'm actually going to combine it with the C column. That's another way to kind of save some time and not, like if you have many columns, you might want to do, 2 columns at the same time. I like to keep the number of images that I stitch together maybe less than 40 or less than 50. So here I'm just selecting the B and C, and then I'm gonna go back to Hugin and create a new file. Take these, move them here, do 5 again, and then I'll create control points. I'll be back when this is done. Alright, it's done. So I'll go back here, geometric custom parameters optimize, unselect, select, reset, click OK, optimize. See this going down. Nice, 0.3, that's good. Sometimes if you find that, so let's open the preview. Go to mosaic. Sometimes I find, so this is a preview of the result. If you don't like the result or there's something wrong, sometimes I go to photos and I just do this process again. I find the control points again. And I found that sometimes helps. So if we go back here, this is good. I'll crop this. Go back to Stitcher, calculate optimal size. And I'll be back when the blending's done. Okay, so the result is done. So now we have this B and C merge. So, you don't have to do it by column. So sometimes doing it by 2 columns works just as good, and it saves time. So yeah, I told you that I, do every 3 images just to save on time. You can do them all. You can do all like 28 per column. It'll take longer, or you can even save even more time by doing multiple columns at the same time. You can even do the whole thing, but it's just a trade-off between time and quality that you have to make for your own aerials. So yeah, I'm not gonna do the D column. I'm just gonna, now that I have this A column and the B and C columns, I'm just gonna stitch those together and see what we get. So I'm gonna go here. I'm gonna create a new project. Take these two, drag them in, Usually it'll give you the, it'll open the dialog to ask you for the field of view, and you just put 5 again, but it didn't ask me here. Find the control points. Same thing. Okay, so the result is done. Here's the final result, which is pretty good. And this doesn't include the D column, but yeah, I just left it out to save time. Another tip that I found might help if you're stitching a lot of photos. Let's say, like for example, I'm stitching all of these. Let's go here and do 5. And as you're trying to stitch, you'll see the result will be very bad. So what I usually do is, I delete a bunch of them, and I just stitch these. I'll do the create control points on these 11, and then I'll go and put more down. I'll go from 12 to 21, and then do create control points again, and just do it in stages like this. That might help with any errors you might get with stitching.